What's going on? It's Amy Nicholas. Welcome back to the channel, to my great fans and followers. Appreciate all of you. If you're new, welcome. Say hello in the comments. Let me know how long have you been trading for. And just a quick shout out to all the people that are commenting. I appreciate all the comments. I read every single one of them. I respond to every single one of them as long as I can see it in my notifications. So if I missed you, I apologize. But you guys have really been helpful lately too with giving suggestions, tips. Last couple videos I've been sharing some losing days, and I have a third one in a row, red day, all red, again, just like yesterday. I'm gonna break down what's going on, where I think I'm getting off track, and what's next to basically get back on track. You know, when you have a losing streak, it's like, okay, gotta break the cycle, right? And there were some decisions I made today where I think I just tried too hard to break the cycle. So let's get into the trades. This morning, if you guys could see, it was just a really all over the place market. Choppy, no clear direction initially. Literally the NASDAQ was only down, I think like 0.04% in the pre-market, and the S&P was flat. I literally saw it at 0.00. So like, it was very challenging to try to pick like, okay, maybe this is what's going to happen at the open. There was no obvious, what was going to happen. This is getting to be typical. Okay. So first trade I got into was SMCI. And when I started looking at it, there was like, I guess kind of what I saw was it just over the 40.50 level, $40.50. And I kind of saw like what looked like surging, bullish, candles. And, I'm getting in at 6:36 in the morning, which typically if it's going to be stocks going up, that's usually for me in the past has been a good time, like actual to the minute time for me to get in a trade, make a profit, get out. And I just misread the market direction. Because clearly this thing I got in at, and I even wrote it down, not a great entry price, $40.80. Because I was trying to get my order in and it was moving very quickly, of course. I wanted to get in around 40.60 something. I didn't, but in all honesty, it wouldn't have mattered because the thing just turned around and started flushing like immediately. What I ended up doing when I saw what was happening, pat on the back, was kicking myself out, not letting it hit my stop loss. The problem was on Thinkorswim, when I canceled the trailing order and my take profit order in order to just sell at the market, it's defaulted. This is a really annoying thing. If Thinkorswim, Schwab, y'all ever listen to these videos, this is really irritating, that it defaults to 1. And you have to manually change how many shares you have bought in order to execute, like I'm in for 2 shares here. This is my 20 trades experiment. I'm only buying 2 shares, but it's always defaulted to 1 every time I open this stupid platform up. So I sold thinking I'm out of the position at 40.17, for a small loss, getting in at 40.80. And I'm looking at my screen and I'm like, wait, I still see a P&L and it's moving. So I was like, oh crap, I'm still in the trade. So by the time I'm acting on getting out of the second one, I gave it like 2 seconds to see if things were going to turn around, because y'all know how that goes. Sometimes you're like taking a loss and you could have waited. No. At this point, the market direction was south. And I finally got out and it was at $39.99. So it was 18 cents past where the other one was. And that led me to a loss of $1.44. Now, granted, if you haven't been following along, I'm trading very, very small position sizes in order to overcome mental trading issues. When I first started this 20 trades experiment where I'm breaking down, like the first 20, I did 1 share, the second 20 I'm in now, I'm doing 2 shares. The issue then was fear of getting into trades, fear of like, I was hesitating, I was overthinking. I feel like I've gotten way, way better at that since doing these experiments. Now, it's like an issue of exit times. I find myself holding on, waiting, trying to get a take profit that's better, maybe in the back of my mind thinking maybe this will make up for some of the losses. Got to get rid of all that crap, right? Like every trade is unique and you can't be focused on the past trades. So I even wrote this down. This is how this morning went, okay? And I'm laughing because it's just funny to me because I can come on here and I can share with you guys and you know what I'm talking about. Like y'all are here because you're as crazy as me to put yourself through these things. I put, if the trade is not going in the right direction within 1 to 2 minutes, get out. And in this scenario, I think I waited, because my next trade was at 6:46 a.m. Pacific. This one I got in at 6:36. I must have waited like 4 to 6 minutes, somewhere in there, to see if things were gonna go my way. And I wrote that, you could pretty much tell that within the first 1 to 2 minutes, if you're on the wrong side of the trade, you need to get out, especially for the way I trade, which is momentum. And if the momentum's going the other way, hello, right? So, okay, after that trade, I decided to go long on Tesla with the ETF TSLR. And I got in this one at 6:46 a.m., like I said, Pacific. And I watched the chart, watched Tesla on my other monitor here. And I'm like, okay, it's choppy. It kept hitting resistance. It was in the 280s. And at this particular point in time, it was tapping 283.50. And I'm like, okay, I even wrote down like lots of resistance at 283.50. And I'm thinking, if this can't go past this amount, I'm in a losing trade. Like I'm already, I was either break even or slightly below what I got in. I got in at $18.26. So I was watching Tesla just ranging from 282.50 to 283.50. And this one, again, I overstayed my welcome because I didn't learn anything apparently from the first trade, where I even wrote it down that within 1 to 2 minutes, if it's not going your way, get out, right? Like my logical brain was not active this morning. So I ended up getting kicked out manually, by the stop loss at 17.52, and Tesla just started flushing at that point. And it kind of was like, in the past couple of days, there's been certain times where Tesla can like fluctuate wildly, and then it's just to like kind of kick people out, right? And then continue its track. It's not what happened today. It definitely was like, nope, we're going down. And the ranges were so tight. Every time there would be, 5-minute candles closing, it was just tight ranges. Like I said, the 282.50 and 283.50, like it was stuck in that range for several minutes. And, I know better than to stay in those Tesla trades when it's stuck like that, because I'm a momentum trader and I'm not following my strategy if I'm staying in ranges, right? So that one I took a loss of $1.48, which was almost my max loss. I think on this one, I did test today a hard stop of 75 cents per share instead of my usual trailing stop I had been testing for a long time with this experiment of 75 cents trailing. But again, I wrote, stayed in too long again. Trade not going in my direction. This was one of those where it had a smidgen of hope in like the first minute where, I went green, and then the hope quickly was like dashed. And I was like, that's where I should have got out as soon as I noticed it just wasn't going to go my way anytime soon. So very choppy stuff. After that, I was like, I'm done. Like I did 2 losses. I'm like, okay, like I need to walk away. And I wrote some recap. I put my P&L, which usually is like, yeah, we're done. Okay, here's what we did. And I was at a loss of $2.92. Excuse me. And my recap says, not sure why I'm off my game, was doing way better trading 1 share at a time versus 2. This is not like huge jumps, right, in share size and position sizing. So to me, I don't feel that it's a position issue, just because I'm trading 2 shares now instead of 1. This is not the issue. There's something else that I'm like working through. And I put some trades go in my favor and then quickly reverse. This is more of the market, and I'm taking full responsibility. Like these are my losses, right? I'm not blaming the market, not blaming, oh, they're hunting my stop loss. These are on me, right? It's my responsibility to accept responsibility of my trades. But I just kind of was like, I'm just noticing this, right? This is just how the pattern has been going. Others, I need to get out sooner when they don't go my way. Again, keep telling myself this. Did I listen? Now, here's where the frustrating part of the day happened, where I walk away, I leave the computer, shut everything down. I think I even went for a walk, and I come back and I had the idea to try to tweak my charts, because I'm like, well, one of the things that I feel like I've been like in these traps sort of is, I'm hitting my stop loss, is like occasionally there's, some volume action of like, hey, let's plummet the stock right here. Let's flush people out right here, and I've been caught in some of those recently. And so I was like, well, maybe if I could read the volume better on my charts, I could kind of see like, is there an actual move happening here? Is it just to kind of shake people out, institutional stuff? And I decided to add, what's this thing called? The Shiken oscillator, whatever. It's this blue thing at the bottom that tells you in real time what the volume is trading at. And I'm bringing up my charts over on this one as well for Thinkorswim, because I wanted to see what other options I had, inside the tools, under studies, they call them. And there was something there, I can't remember the name of it. It's kind of like the RSI, but for volume, not for like overbought, oversold. So I added that, and I was watching Tesla, of course, like favorite thing to watch. And I saw a lot of selling, high volume, flushing very quickly, big red candles, general downtrend, right? And this is where I let the emotions take over. And I decided in that moment, I was going to jump in another 2-share trade. And I got in TSLQ, which is the ETF that shorts Tesla, at 41.37. And I think I went green. And here's my reasoning, my illogical reasoning, was that I was like, can I just get one flippin' green trade? Because it had been 2 straight days of losses, like no winning trades in those 2 days. Monday was the last time I had a winning trade. And even on Monday, I was red on the day. So I had 2 green, 2 red on Monday, and I was still red. And so it was 2 days in a row, feeling like I gotta get my confidence back. I gotta get back on my game. So what happens when you think like that? You force trades. You get in when you shouldn't. You do things you shouldn't. I broke my rule. I had literally just written this down this morning before I started trading. 2 reds or losses in 1 day, ? I'm done for the day. Did I follow that rule? No, I broke it, because this was the 3rd one. And I watched it go slightly green, like 10 cents up in my favor. And there was this moment of like, ooh, I could just sell and I can at least have 1 green under the belt and I'll just feel better, even though I'm still gonna be negative for the day. And I didn't, and I waited. And then it went against me, which is funny because, the general trend for Tesla the rest of the morning was down. So it was one of these, like, I think at this point, I kicked myself out. I manually sold because I was like, no. We're not letting this happen again, where I'm just waiting and looking to get flushed out. I actually did follow the thing I had written down like 3 times before of like, if this isn't going my way in the first couple minutes, I need to get out. So I did follow that. I shouldn't have been in this trade to begin with though. So I kicked myself at 41.04 for a loss of 66 cents. none of these losses are crazy, right? In terms of dollars, like for the day, I'm down $3.58. It's what's beginning to kind of come to surface though, is when you have multiple red trades, multiple red days in a row, you can see how that can easily affect your confidence, right? You start to question, is it my strategy? Is it me? Am I off just in some way, shape, or form? And all these thoughts were like kind of running through my mind today, trying to I always find myself reviewing after the fact when I go for a walk, take my dogs for a walk, which is a great place for me to, be mentally, because it helps me think clearly. Whereas clearly this morning I wasn't. And so I thought about it actually for a few hours. I went to the gym. Highly recommend doing that, by the way. go burn off some steam. And then I came back and sort of just wrote some notes about what I think. I don't want to say necessarily what went wrong, but I will say, yes, I did break my rules. But there was something interesting about this whole day and subsequent days that in the past, and I think I mentioned this on yesterday's video, in the past, I would take this kind of stuff very personal, think very low of myself, beat myself up, just feel bad, just in general, feel like dirt. And what's kind of happening now is that I don't care as much, which is the first sign to me of going in the right direction, is when you can handle losses and they don't shake you so much that you're not afraid to come back the next day. Now, granted, my rule, one of my rules was that, if I have 3 red days in a row, I'm done for the week. So I am enforcing that rule. I am not trading Thursday or Friday this week. I will come back on Monday. This is to show myself that I am going to uphold my rules, because I broke one today. So I was like, I am not gonna break another one. I will enforce this one. And I think I will come back stronger, because what I'm gonna do Thursday and Friday is I'm going to chart watch, although I will not have Thinkorswim open so that I cannot buy anything. I will chart watch. I will go back and review trades. I've been not only tracking them in my journal, but I actually put in all my trades since the beginning of these experiments of the 20 trades into a Google sheet with relevant information, and I plugged it into ChatGPT, and it kind of was like, yeah, your losers are bigger than your winners. And I was like, yeah, I see that. And it definitely pointed out to me that I did, which I knew, that I did better with the first round of these 20 trades, because I kept to my 75-cent trailing stop. And I mentioned yesterday's video that I was experimenting with different stops, and I was trying hard stops. I was trying like $1 to $1.50 stops. So it was kind of like, really obvious after chats, like analyzing it, that I shouldn't play with my stops, because my win rate for the last 20 trades, where I was trading one share, I was at like 71%. And I also was profitable at the end of those 20 trades. So, I'm kind of looking at like, okay, where else can I improve? But I also need to look back and say, what was I doing right? Because clearly I'm not doing it right. I've had way more red trades on this second 20 trades experiment, which I'm up to 14 under the belt at this point. So we've got 6 more left on this one. And yeah, I'm definitely negative. It's more losses than gains. The other thing that's been kind of frustrating lately, and I'm like, you know what, Amy, you just gotta take what you can get, is that where there's chances for me when I'm winning in a trade, I am not seeing the opportunities to take more profit. So what does that do? That skews your risk to rewards, right? So many times I'm more risking than getting rewarded. And I don't just blame myself for that. I just feel like the market conditions have wildly changed and fluctuated, and it's leading me to think a little differently about what I am doing. Not so much like, I don't think necessarily I need to change my strategy because it worked when I was trading the one share. I think that I just need to exit a little sooner sometimes, because I'm winning more from like scalp kind of trades. 1 to 10 minutes is usually like my max. Like 10 minutes is long for most of my winning trades. Granted, of course, there's always times where the stock continues going up, but for my style, it's like, okay, take what you can get in, get out, right? And I'm going to go back to what I've been doing that was working, and just realize that, hey, yeah, I would love to have a 75-cent stop risk and $1 at least take profit, but that's not always going to happen. You know, depending on what stock you're trading, it's just not going to happen all the time. So I also kind of realized that, hey, if it's a trailing stop of 75 cents, I'm really not risking 75 cents. Yeah, that's the worst case scenario, but in many instances, I have greatly reduced my losses because of the trailing stop. So, you know, some of the trades, I was nowhere near the max, right? Because the trailing stop followed me up. And if I started to give back to the market too much, then the trailing stop kicked me out. So some of my trades, my losses were like 30 cents, 40 cents, not 75 per share, right? So I just have to go back to what worked. No more experimenting with stop losses right now. We're going to finish out these 20 trades next week. And I just have to remember, keep it simple. It was kind of the point of starting these 20 trades, was keep it simple. And then this second series, I'm like, well, let me try this and let me see what this happens. And I think it's just natural. Like, people want to experiment and do different things. But I really should have just stuck with the rules of the game. You know, if I wanted to play around, then I should have said, oh, hey, this is, you know, finish my game and then I'll start something else and this can be experiment time. But I'd rather have the same results as before, right? The one thing I know, you know, I was kind of questioning, like, what else was different about that series? I think I just cared less. Like, I felt very freed mentally by only trading that one share. It was like, who cares, you know, 75-cent trailing stop. I don't think that, you know, doubling it to 2 is any part of the issue. I think I just maybe got bored with the idea. I don't know. Like, I think that's one of the reasons that I wanted to experiment and test different things. And I think I was looking at the way it was for me as I was doing something not accurate. In that sense, I mean, my take profits, you know, thinking, oh, I should stay in longer so there's a chance of taking profit. Clearly, that isn't working right now. I'm staying too long and I'm actually not getting into profit or giving back any little bit of profit I might see at the beginning and having trades turn the other way. So I need to dismiss that idea of like staying in longer. I think for that kind of trade, because there was one trade I did, I think it was on Monday, where I went long on Tesla and I stayed in it for 4 hours. But it had a way wider stop loss in the sense that ETF is very low price. So I knew I wasn't probably going to get kicked out. There was a lot of confirmation on that day. But I need to just stick to my normal scalping thing and say, okay, like, let's just do what we did before and get back on track, get away from these losing days, right? This streak. I also kind of, you know, when I was walking and thinking today, I started to just be like, what else is going on with me that maybe is affecting the trading? Not so much the actual trading, but like other things mentally, right? Or physically even. And I was like, okay, well, one, I've been hitting the snooze button the last couple days. 2 red days, 2 snooze button days. Interesting, right? The other thing was, you know, I can see how that lack of discipline carries over, right? Like, you hit the snooze, seems like a little thing. but what else are you slacking off on? You know, and I'm like, oh, well, if I hit the snooze, that gives me less time in the morning to prepare my trades, to look at the market. Now granted, I get up very early regardless because I'm on Pacific time. So 6:30 a.m. market's open for me. So I'm getting up, you know, the days I hit the snooze, I was getting up between 5:20, you know, but normally I get up around 4:15. So that I realized was messing with my trading because it's 2 days in a row, 2 red days. Now granted, I was red on Monday. I got up at my normal time on Monday, but I at least had 2 winners on that day, you know? So yeah, I think it's the lack of discipline carrying over, and just, you know, causing more errors. So anyways, guys, I hope that this recap helps somebody. Like I said, I'm not going to trade Thursday and Friday. I will trade again on Monday, and I'll use this time to study up, work on the mental stuff, read. I'm going to be reading this guy, Market Wizards. I mentioned this book a couple times about other traders, like interviews and stuff. And I will also be reading Mark Douglas's The Disciplined Trader. So if you guys want resource links and whatnot, I've got it in the comments and the description below. It says my day trading resources. I've just compiled things into a Google document so you can access that if you so desire. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care.